Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to the channel. My oh my, the news is really coming in on the next Battlefield game thick and fast. I don't think any of us really expected this so early on, especially since the game is slated to release sometime next year, probably around October or November, but hey, I'm not complaining. So in this video, we actually have a few new snippets of the Frostbite engine that is going to be used for the next Battlefield game, and maybe even assets from the new Battlefield game itself. I'm not sure if EA kind of inadvertently showed these by accident, but whatever the case, it's very interesting. Then there's going to be community testing for the new Battlefield game kicking off relatively soon, and we've also found the location of the new Battlefield's map from the video I posted a couple of days ago. So guys, if you enjoy the content here on the channel, hit the subscribe button, leave a like below, plenty more content to come on the new Battlefield game, and as always, it is much appreciated. Okay, so first things first here, the new map has apparently been confirmed, or as good as to confirmed as possible, as being in Gibraltar in Spain. So here is a bit of a comparison between a real-life photo of Gibraltar here on the left compared to some of the concept art that we saw in the article that Vince Zampella released a couple of days ago. By the way, if you guys haven't watched my video about the entire article, I have done one on that, and I will link it in the corner for you just to bring you up to speed. But I think you guys will agree, a lot of the highlighted areas here look very similar. So you've got a pink circle there in the background. There's an outcropping of landmass into the ocean, very similar in the concept art. Then in the red circle, you have this very large flat looking building with a line going through the middle of it, again looking very similar there in the concept art. And then in the yellow circle there's like a triple line of buildings. The angle is slightly off like in the concept art compared to the real life photo, but I think you can agree that the distances as well between all three of these assets is very similar. Now what's more interesting is if we look at the full image here, there is a lot of fire up on the hillside, and you can see in the real life photo that there's a lot of greenery, a lot of shrubbery there, so it could just be a forest fire, a wildfire of some description. But I think, and honestly it would be cooler if it was actually a volcanic eruption. Now Gibraltar is actually a collapsed volcanic core, that's why there is this mountainous region to it here, and it sort of slopes down into the city. So technically it's not active, so it couldn't really erupt, but who's to say that DICE can't change that for the sake of the game, right? Alright, moving on here, we have what could potentially be new footage of not just the Frostbite engine, guys, but some weapons from the next Battlefield game. So this was taken from the EA Investors Day that they had a couple of days ago, and during the showcase, they wanted to show off some of their new tech, which essentially uses AI to allow anybody to create whatever they want. And I've actually wondered whether this may be some sort of a Portal 2.0. So in this example, they just type into the dialog box here, make me a map out of boxes, make it more complicated, spawn me 2 players with weapons, and then give me some combat. Instead of needing to know the ins and outs of map editing and all of that sort of stuff, you can literally just type to it like it's a person, and it will do whatever you instruct it to do. So that in and of itself is pretty interesting, but what's even more enthralling is the fact that they're running around with 2 weapons, and what other EA games, of course they are EA assets, have these kind of weapons? I don't think there is any other game except for Battlefield. These don't look like they're from any past Battlefield game, so I can only assume that this is on whatever new iteration of the Frostbite engine they have, and these weapons are from that Battlefield game as well. And I gotta say, I really like what I see here. It looks great. But of course, that being said, the proof is going to be in the pudding, and just because this little tech demo looked amazing and they managed to bump up the graphics for that, does not necessarily mean that's how Battlefield 2025, or whatever we want to call the next game, is going to look. Now, during the show, there was a segment specifically dedicated to Battlefield, and Byron Beede, who is the general manager for Battlefield at EA, he took to the stage and gave a bit of a presentation on how they're tackling the next game, talking about the fact that there's 4 studios working on it. So we've got DICE, we've got Criterion Games, we've got Motive, and then we have Ripple Effect Studios, who are, of course, working on some sort of a standalone Battlefield project that we don't yet know anything about. Rumor is, though, that it's some sort of a Battle Royale mode. Now, for those of you who don't know any background on Byron, he worked on the Call of Duty franchise for the majority of his career, so he was the guy behind Warzone. That wouldn't surprise me at all if they were going for something similar here with the next Battlefield game. But like I said just earlier, maybe it's something to do with his AI scripting generative sandbox that they were showing there in that little tech demo. Sort of think of it as like a Portal 2.0. However, he definitely had some words here that instilled at least me with a decent degree of optimism about the next Battlefield game. I know, guys, don't worry, I'm still going to keep my brain in my head. I'm not going to lose myself to the hype train. Of course, I'm excited to some degree, but the proof is always going to be in the pudding. Don't pre-order the game, wait until it's released, wait until you've gotten your hands on at least the beta and tried it out for yourselves. But this is what he had to say.
Now, with a franchise this as important as Battlefield, we have huge ambitions. Entertaining hundreds of millions of players is a lofty goal, and we don't take that responsibility lightly. We're hungry, we're focused, and this global team of Battle Studios is operating in new ways, and we're seeing the results. Our teams live via a culture of rapid iteration to find great gameplay. That's Vince's hallmark. Prototyping, playtesting, getting feedback, and repeating that loop over and over and over again. It's one of our most fundamental philosophies, and it's being incorporated through every area of Battlefield. We're obsessed with finding the fun.
They're obsessed with finding the fun. Well, those are some very powerful words there. Of course, during this presentation, guys, they are speaking to their investors. So a lot of it is just investor speak, and they want to sort of butter them up a bit and make sure that they're going to throw all of their dollars at EA to support games such as Battlefield. But I do like what I'm hearing. They've said that they have been iterating and playtesting the game for over a year at this point, and I really think that was the main downfall of Battlefield 2042. It just felt like they didn't playtest the game at all, and by the time the beta came around, and me and you got our hands on it and said, "Dice, EA, what the heck have you guys been doing? This is a load of absolute tosh." It was simply too late. They told us it was an early build. It wasn't an early build. It was pretty much the way the game released, and at that point, the rest is history. But Vince Zampella is the guy spearheading the next game, and he certainly has some very successful titles under his belt. So of course over at Respawn, he was behind Apex Legends, he did both of the Star Wars games, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and then Survivor. I really enjoyed playing both of those. He of course did Titanfall, which was very successful as well, so he certainly has shown he knows how to make successful games. So has Byron. The only thing I am worried about, apart from, well, the things I've already stated before, is if they're going to go and make this into the next Apex or Call of Duty, and they think, hey, these games did really well for us and well for EA and Activision, maybe we should be dumbing down on that, and that's sort of our shtick, and that's what we know how to do.
Now, well, I would love to show you what we've been working on with Battlefield. We have a philosophy on Battlefield to put our community first. But what you can be sure of is we're building a connected universe set in the modern day for players filled with Battlefield experiences, all of them built with our unique DNA. I also want to share with you that internally, we've been playing the game nearly daily for well over a year. In support of this playtesting, we've also prioritized what we call our Keep Green initiative. This means we're focused on software stability so that the game is always playable, always available for playtesting. That means for us, more iteration cycles. In addition to this internal testing cycles, we're already testing with players, and we plan to introduce a new large-scale community-driven testing program early next year. Now that's going to give us significantly more feedback on gameplay, performance, and fun factor. With all these approaches, we're focused on feedback and finding the fun like never before. So that means me, Vince, our development teams across the world, and all of EA are all in on Battlefield. This franchise and our players deserve our best.
Well, it certainly does sound pretty convincing, doesn't it, guys? Again, though, take this with a pinch of salt. We've heard it all before, right? We've heard Battlefield is ahead of schedule. We've heard that it's a love letter to the Battlefield fans. Remember that? Remember a lot of the things that is said before Battlefield 2042 launched, and look how the game turned out. Now, I'm not trying to be like a downer here. I'm just saying, keep your head on your shoulders. I'm going to try to do the same thing. I'm going to continue to bring you guys the news. And, you know, whilst I may sound pretty hype about it, because I'm trying to be entertaining to you guys on the microphone, right? I am staying chill. I'm being relaxed. I'm calm. I'm not sold on this Battlefield game yet. We haven't seen any gameplay footage whatsoever. Well, except for what I maybe showed you earlier in the video, which may or may not be from the new Battlefield. So let's just wait and see. However, one of the things he did say there that I really liked is the Keep Green initiative, where he was talking about always making sure that the game is playable. And I think that was the issue with the last Battlefield game as well. There were huge problems with the Frostbite engine. A lot of the engineers who knew how to sort of work on the engine left the company before Battlefield 2 came out and towards the end of the lifespan of Battlefield 5, and they were pretty much in the shit. I think that's a lot of why Battlefield 2042 runs so bad. There wasn't a lot of optimization there, and they simply couldn't playtest the game as much as they would have liked. So it's really, really good to hear that the game is literally playable every single day so that they can iterate and improve it little by little, and like he said, find that fun. Guys, as always, leave me your comments down below. Hit the subscribe button if you want to keep up to date with more Battlefield. I'll definitely be jumping into every piece of information that comes out about this game in the future. Leaving a like as well is always appreciated. But otherwise, have a good day, guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.